Well, everyone. What is going on, everyone? Mets Talk with Hayden J here. Let me just make sure the audio is good. All right, audio is good. I see we got 14 people in the chat already. What is going on, everyone? Mets Talk with Hayden here. What's going on, everyone? I hope we are all doing extremely well. And I think we have a big reason to be. The New York Mets just swept a huge 3-game series against their division rival in the Philadelphia Phillies. Phenomenal sweep there. But in today's stream, we are going to be going over the New York Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies series summary. Then we are going to be transitioning into the New York Mets and, of course, the Washington Nationals series preview. We are going to be talking Mets news, Mets injuries, updates, player analysis, and, of course, all of your guys' comments, questions, and concerns. I see we got 15 of you guys in the chat already. Appreciate it. If you guys have any comments, if you have any concerns, anything you want to comment, even if you just want to drop an LFGM in the chat, do not hesitate. Please feel free. Let me know your thoughts about, how the Mets have been. So definitely let's get right into it. Super exciting for this New York Mets ball club. So before we get into all of that, please, everyone, smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, tell your friends about this channels, and, of course, much more. But taking a dive into what's going on with the New York Mets, as we could see, the New York Mets swept a huge 3-game series against the division rival Philadelphia Phillies. Let's get into game one, which was Friday's game. Phenomenal game, I will say. The Phillies did give the Mets a little bit of run for their money. I will say that. Mets definitely gave them a run for their money in game 1 and 3. Game 2 was over really before it started. But see, we got 18 people in the chat already. Let's keep it going, guys. Let's keep it going. I love it. Let's get into it. In game 1, the New York Mets took game 1 by a score of 6-8. Definitely a close game. We had our friend Carlos Cookie Carrasco on the bump. 5 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs, a walk, 7 strikeouts. Don't be fooled with the slash line. I get it. The runs may not be ideal. Looking at the 5 runs, not the biggest. A lot of his struggles came towards, the 6th inning. A lot of those runs weren't given up by him. It's just, unfortunately, that's how the game works. That's how the game works. And if relief pitchers come in and screw up, then it still counts as a run for you. Following that, Jason Shreve came in and unfortunately did pretty bad. 1/3 inning, a hit, a run, and that's all she wrote. Unfortunate outing for Jason Shreve to give up 3 of Carrasco's runs. Following that, Drew Smith came in, an inning, a walk, strikeout, looked good. Joely Rodriguez came in, 2/3 of an inning, a hit, walk, strikeout, got out of a little bit of a jam. That's good. He's been really consistent for the most part. Just the walks is one thing you'd like to tone out with him. Seth Lugo came in for 1/3 to fix Joely Rodriguez's mess. And then, of course, Edwin Diaz to close it out, who's been absolutely elite these last couple games, going an inning, only giving up 1 hit, and, of course, a strikeout. 3 strikeouts. We love when Edwin Diaz gets strikeouts. That's phenomenal. Hopefully we can keep seeing that ahead. Getting into some of this offense. We had the first inning, Mets got things working against Falter. In the first inning, Pete Alonso hit a sacrifice fly to bring in Brandon Nimmo. Following that, Eduardo Escobar hit a sacrifice fly to right to bring in Starling Marte. Following that, Mark Canha had an RBI single to center to bring in Francisco Lindor. So we saw, some old traditional baseball, just drive the runner in, doesn't matter how, just brings the runner in. And I think that's really good. Glad he did that. Going into the 3rd inning, Pete Alonso opened this game with a 2-run homer to left, 400 feet. That was a bomb. Alonso hit a nuke to bring in him and, of course, Francisco Lindor. Following that, in the 4th inning, Francisco Lindor had an RBI single to left to bring in Starling Marte. Following that, Pete Alonso had an RBI double to deep right, this close from leaving the ballpark, to bring in Francisco Lindor. And then, of course, in the 6th inning, Starling Marte had an RBI ground out to shortstop to bring in Tomas Nido. So phenomenal outing there. Mets offense really picked up this game, got on base a total of 14 times, issued 5 walks. Phenomenal game from Pete Alonso, going 2 for 2, having 4 RBIs, a walk. Phenomenal outing there. Good outing from Starling Marte, going 2 for 5. Very much needed. Phenomenal. Keep it up. Francisco Lindor going 1 for 2, 2 walks, RBI, 3 runs. Big game there. So Mets take this game by a score of 8-6. Carlos Carrasco gets the win, and Edwin Diaz gets the save. Getting into game 2 of this series, the New York Mets won this game by a score of 8-2. We had our friend Taiwan Walker on the bump, and kudos to Taiwan Walker. Honestly, good for him. 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 3 walks, a strikeout, 88 pitches. Keep it up, Taiwan Walker. I mean, this dude received so much hate going into the season saying, he's done. He should be a 6th starter. Everyone hated this dude. And he has been absolutely nothing but phenomenal for the Mets, really. I mean, he's had, 5 outings, and 4 of them have been against the Phillies. I mean, that's not easy to do because teams are going to figure you out. So that's really good. Honestly, kudos to Taiwan Walker. I mean, he really had a phenomenal start. The splitter slider, he was throwing hard. The ground balls were there. Like, I see a lot of these guys are just ditching the strikeouts and just throwing for ground balls. And go for it. You have an above-average defense. Escobar, Lindor, Mcneill, Alonso. I mean, Mcneil and Lindor, in my opinion, are gold glovers. Escobar's men, and I think Alonso's average. So keep going for it. That's what I say. Keep going for it. It doesn't hurt. So absolutely love what I saw from Taiwan Walker. Phenomenal outing from him. And I mean, yeah, he didn't need it. He's been pitching phenomenal, but definitely helps the situation out. Following that, Colin Holderman came in. Tip of the cap to him also. He has been lights out recently. Dominant out of the bullpen, really to say for the least. 2 innings, only giving up 1 hit and 3 strikeouts. 21 pitches. Phenomenal. His command of the zone has been good, and he has yet to give up a single run this season. Following that, Adam Ottavino came in. An inning, not much there. And then Edwin, and then Seth Lugo came in to finish out this game, only giving up 1 inning and, of course, a strikeout. Only 9 pitches, so good to see out of there. In terms of this offense, the offense was rolling. Starting off in the 2nd inning, Dominic Smith had a sacrifice fly to center to bring in Eduardo Escobar. Make this a 1-0 ball game. And then in the 4th inning, the Mets cranked it open with a Jeff McNeil 3-run homer to right, 402 feet. McNeil ripped this ball, the flying squirrel, to bring in him, Lindor, and Pete Alonso. In the 5th inning, Francisco Lindor had an RBI triple to bring in Luis Guillorme and Starling Marte. Later on, Pete Alonso had a sacrifice fly to left to bring in Lindor. And then in the 7th inning, Lindor had an RBI single to center to bring in Luis Guillorme. So another phenomenal outing there to say for a lot of this Mets ball club. I mean, the offense was there. They picked up. I mean, scoring back-to-back games with 8 runs. I mean, it's pretty insane. I mean, the San Francisco series, they were hot. It's crazy. That's, how baseball works. It's insane. And then, of course, Taiwan Walker gets the win. Good to see. Was not a save situation. And getting into last night's game, and I think the most chaotic game of this series, Edwin Diaz did a phenomenal outing, but Chris Bassett was starting on the bump for the Mets. And kudos to Chris Bassett. 6 innings, 2 hits, a run, 3 walks, and 7 strikeouts. Phenomenal outing from Bassett. Pitched a total of 100 pitches, got out of plenty of jams, picked up the strikeouts and the whiffs and the swinging and misses towards the end. Drew Smith came in to bail him out, going 2/3 of an inning, surrendering a hit and a strikeout. He did get injured trying to grab a little ball deflected off the bat of JT Realmuto, but picked it up with his hand and dislocated his finger. So we will see what is going to go on with him down the line. Following that, Dolly Rodriguez came in, only give up a hit. Gave up 2 runs, 2 walks. That's one thing that is a bit negative about Rodriguez is the walk issue. He definitely is a guy who is going to walk a lot of batters, and I think you're going to have to be careful in reality on who's coming in to bail him out because, Rodriguez doesn't have the best command of the zone, and that's kind of annoying, but we'll see how that goes. Following that, Adam Ottavino came in and just was horrible. 2/3 of an inning. Or 1/3 of an inning, 2 hits, and of course a run, 3 of them, but 1 was earned on him. So not the best, but it happens. Following that, Steven Nagosic went an inning, 17 pitches, phenomenal, has yet to give up a run this season. And then Edwin Diaz to not close things out, but bail the Mets out with the runner on second in extras. Went an inning, a walk, and of course a strikeout. Phenomenal outing there. Getting into this offense, kind of lazy, kind of quiet, but hey, they got the job done, so I could really care less how they got the runs. Starting things off in the first inning, the Mets got to Zach Wheeler early on, and that's what you want to do with Wheeler. He's a guy who can struggle in the first or second inning, but then really sinks in later on, and he's untouchable, and that was the case for him. In the first inning, Francisco Lindor had an RBI ground out to bring in Luis Guillorme. Following that, Eduardo Escobar had an RBI ground out to bring in Starling Marte, and then Mark Canha also had an RBI ground out to bring in Francisco Lindor. Offense was quiet. But then in the ninth inning, you're down by a run. Nick Plummer, making his first MLB game, had a home run, a solo shot to right, 389 feet, just tucked that in the foul pole. What do you know? Nick Plummer, phenomenal. Who would have thought? That's just crazy. And then in the 10th inning, Eduardo Escobar walked it off with an RBI double to bring in Starling Marte. The New York Mets win Game 3 to sweep this series by a score of 5-4. Edwin Diaz gets the win. Phenomenal outing from the Mets. I will say, Phillies definitely gave the Mets a run for their money in Game 1 and, of course, Game 3. I think Game 2 was kind of on the Mets side all along. Mets definitely got very lucky. You know, the Phillies' defense is abysmal. It's horrible. And they took advantage of it. I mean, last night, Rhys Hoskins making an unfortunate high throw to Camargo at second, and then Camargo throwing it away at home. Obviously, in Game 1 with the Nimmo hit, Hoskins couldn't reach the ball, and Camargo also threw it away. Yesterday, to start things off with Luis Guillorme's double, Schwarber didn't really approach that well. And then the day before that, Castellanos and Schwarber collided practically. And then for the Pete Alonso, I can go on and on and on. The Phillies defense is an issue, and so we'll see how that goes for them down the line. But phenomenal outing for the New York Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies. Mets take 3 games of the series to advance their record 32-17. So one of the best in the NL, right with the Dodgers. But now the New York Mets will be on a 3-game set with the Washington Nationals. The Nationals are, hold on guys, give me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, yes. So yeah, the Washington Nationals are coming into town to play a 3-game set against the New York Mets. Nationals are expected to play Game 1 tonight at 7:10 at Citi Field. For the New York Mets on the bump, we will have David Peterson. Yes, sir, it's David Peterson bump day, the left-handed southpaw. Peterson on the season is 2-0, 2.16 ERA, a flat 1 whip, 25 innings pitched, and, of course, 22 strikeouts. Peterson has been looking phenomenal lately. He's kind of ditched that strikeout approach and going for more just light contact, ground balls to get out. And that's been phenomenal. He's really changing up his approach compared to last season and then 2020. He's been phenomenal. He hasn't been giving up any barrels lately. Not much hard contact. Only has 2 homers on the season in 25 innings pitched. So that's pretty good. Overall, love what I'm seeing from Peterson. He really looking phenomenal. Give me 6-7 innings maybe, and we'll have a good argument there. Really, there's really not much to critique with Peterson. He's really been a phenomenal surprise. He's been a guy who's been able to come in and eat innings and step up when it mattered. He did the same thing in 2020. And hey, I'll take it. He had a good series in San Francisco, gave up a long ball, and that was it. Otherwise, Peterson's going to have his huge test on the West Coast. But right now, take this game. That's what you want to see out of Peterson. I've been loving what we've been seeing out of him. The slider is a good pitch for him, really nasty pitch. The fastball combination. I know he doesn't throw very hard. I get that. He's not going to be throwing 99, 100. But his stuff, the movement, it's nasty. It works. It's effective. And that's what you want out of David Peterson. The whiffs have been going up, though, I will say that. So keep that up for Peterson. And then, of course, on the bump for the Washington Nationals, they will have Eric Fetty. Fetty, Mets do have a good number against Eric Fetty, I will say, for the least. Taking a look at Eric Fetty's time when playing the Mets, his numbers may not be the best against the New York Mets. Obviously, taking a look at Eric Fetty's numbers when playing against the New York Mets, doesn't matter if it's at Nationals Park or Citi Field, he doesn't have the best numbers. Pete Alonso, for example, has a .429 average against him in 14 at-bats with 2 RBIs. So phenomenal. He's not hitting for power, but he's getting contact. He's getting base hits. He's driving in runs. He's getting doubles. And, hey, that's all I'm going to take for out of Pete Alonso against Eric Fetty. So love to see that. Obviously, some other guys. J.D. Davis has a 400 average and 5 at-bats against him. Jeff Mcneil is batting .429 also in 14 at-bats with an RBI against him. Phenomenal. Francisco Lindor in 12 at-bats is batting .250 against him. Okay. Eduardo Escobar in 10 bats, 300. The power isn't there. I mean, the only guy to have a home run on this roster against Fetty is Lindor, which is 1. But the RBIs are there and the contact is there. So overall, I'm going to take that. Just give me contact, drive, and run. So phenomenal. And Peterson does have good numbers against the Nationals, so that's also good. Getting into game 2 of this series, tomorrow's game. It will be a 7-10 start also. The New York Mets will have Trevor Williams on the bump. Phenomenal outing for Williams, to say for the least. Don't look at his win-loss record or his ERA. That's BS. 0-3 on the season, 4.37 ERA, 1.24 WHIP, 22 innings pitched, and of course 22 strikeouts. Williams has really stepped up. I mean, the last 3 outings, he's really stepped up. We know that he came into relief as a Pucky in that San Francisco series that was just absolutely phenomenal. Has good numbers against the Nationals, to say for the least. I mean, he's a guy who, can really just come out of surprise and give you just, maybe 5, 4, 6 innings and just look good. I will say he's really looking good in his new role. We know that he was supposed to be a long reliever, but he's looking good. I mean, yeah, he's not getting strikeouts. A lot of guys aren't chasing. He doesn't throw very hard, but he limits walks. That's huge, and especially if he's going to be a reliever down the line, that's huge. He limits barrels. He's not giving up hard contact. I mean, if you look at his savant, it's phenomenal. He has a good pitch mix, the fastball, the changeup, the slider that drops in on the plate. Phenomenal. He really works the zone. That he throws towards the edges. He throws towards the corners, and that really works. I mean, mixing the 4 pitches with him is just going to be phenomenal for him down the line. So I think that could really make him have a spectacular performance. Don't look at his ERA. Don't look at his win-loss record, because he comes into games where he comes on his bases loaded and no outs. So, yeah. And then, of course, the Washington Nationals will have the Mets will have Pete Alonso's son, Patrick Corbin. Corbin, the lefty, yes, Mets don't have the best numbers against lefties, but yeah, this lefty they do. Patrick Corbin is 1-7 on the season, 6.30 ERA, 1.66 WHIP, oof, 50 innings pitched and 42 strikeouts, 6 long balls. Long ball has been a little bit of an issue for him this season. Mets have phenomenal numbers against this dude. Taking a look-see, Pete Alonso has a 344 average and 32 at-bats with 4 home runs and 7 RBIs. J.D. Davis, also his dad, 313 average, 32 at-bats, 4 homers, 6 RBIs. Phenomenal. I mean, really, to say for the least, they own this dude. Lindor, 300 average, 20 at-bats. Phenomenal. Just phenomenal. Really, the Mets should definitely, hopefully, beat up on this dude or get to him early. That's the biggest thing, because like we saw from him last time, he struggled the first inning. He had some poor defensive plays behind him, and then he really sinked in, and we had to wait till the Nationals bullpen to really kind of do some things. So that's going to be my biggest thing for Corbin, is get to him early, because yeah, don't get me wrong, he may be a crappy pitcher. But he definitely can get in sync and really start to do some damage. So that is game 2. Getting into game 3 and the final game set of this 3-game series. First game of June, we'll have Carlos Cookie Carrasco on the bump, who was 5-1 on the season, 3.98 ERA, 1.15 WHIP, 52 innings pitched, and of course 42 strikeouts. Loving what I'm seeing out of Carrasco. He's looking good. The first inning complexities are no longer an issue for him, I think. He's been a guy who goes out there, definitely nice cookie cutter, love what I'm seeing for Carrasco. No major complaints, no major observations to be worried about for him. And then for the Nationals, it is to be determined. We don't know who is going to be starting for that. Maybe a bullpen game, we'll see. Overall, Mets are expected to win all 3 games of the series, according to ESPN, so that's good. Hey, back-to-back sweeps, I'll take it. That would be phenomenal if the Mets can get back-to-back sweeps. That would be huge. Absolutely huge. Some players to watch out for this series. I think Pete Alonso is going to be the number 1. Obviously, he does have phenomenal numbers against the Nationals, and if you look at his numbers, he has just been having an all-star caliber season. Saw someone just comment something about that, and I will get into that. But he has been having a phenomenal season, to say for the least. He has great numbers against the Nationals. He's been really just hitting the ball well phenomenally. I mean, there's no other way to say it. I mean, taking a look-see at Alonso in the last, we'll see, 7 or 15. In the last 7 games, or actually we'll do the last 15 because that's better stats. Last 15 games, 321 average, 388 OPP, and of course, a 589 slugging. 18 hits, 4 homers, 18 RBIs, 7 walks, 12 strikeouts, and of course a stolen base in the last 15 games. Last 7 games, he has 7 hits, 2 homers, 10 RBIs, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts, 292 average, 355 OBP, and of course a 583 slugging. He had 4 games this Philly series, 5 RBIs, 4 walks, didn't strike out at all this Philly series. So he's been phenomenal. Currently, I mean, 53 hits on the season, 12 homers, 46 ribbies, stolen base, average 286, OBP at 357, and an OPS of 881. Phenomenal. Who would have thought that this dude would have a 286 average this late into the season? I mean, he's really changing his approach. Also, player to watch definitely has to be Jeff McNeil. This dude has also been balling out like crazy lately. Loving what I'm seeing out of Jeff McNeil. Just putting the ball in play no matter what. Exemplifying a little power. That's what I'd like to see out of him. He's not a power hitter, but it helps his case. Last 7 games, he has 8 hits, 2 homers, 5 ribbies, 3 walks, a strikeout, a stolen base, and an average of 381, an OBP of 458, and a slugging of 762. Powers there. The Philly series, phenomenal stats, 2 hits, a homer, 3 RBIs, a walk. Did pretty good jobs there. On the season, 52 hits, 3 homers, 26 ribbies, 2 stolen bases, average of 317, OBP of 372, and of course, an OPS of 352. And of course, I'm going to give a third guy to watch for this series. It has to be Francisco Lindor. He has really been waking up. He's really hitting the ball all over the infield. Last 7 games, 10 hits, 2 homers, 15 ribbies, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts, a stolen base, 370 average, 419 OBP, and an 815 slugging. Phenomenal. I mean, really, to say for the least. 3 hits in the Phillies series, 5 RBIs, 3 walks, and of course, 4 strikeouts. So he really has been stepping up. Sorry about that. He really has been stepping up big time. So those are my 3 guys to watch for this upcoming Philadelphia Phillies series. I'm super excited to see those guys on the field. They're definitely going to have a big impact. Maybe some honorable mentions, J.D. Davis, just because he has good numbers against Patrick Corbin, and some guys like Eric Fetty. So maybe a nice long ball from him could be nice. Get something productive from the DH role for the few times that we've actually been seeing. So yeah, those are some honorable mentions, obviously. So super, super, super exciting to see what the New York Mets can get done against the Washington Nationals to face a 3-game set. Now, let's stop wasting any time and let's dive into all of your guys' comments, questions, and concerns. Let's get it started. Dos, what's happening? John, what's going on? Seth, Christopher, what's going on? Christopher says, howdy, enjoyed that game last night. Hey, man, absolutely, me too. Daniel says, I don't trust Ottavino. Why on earth would he throw an 0-2 fastball to Castellanos? Should have thrown it in the dirt or something else, shaking my head. Lucky the Mets came back to win. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, if the Mets lost that game because of Ottavino, I mean, he was getting booed when he walked off the field. He was getting booed. So, I mean, if the Mets didn't come back and win that game, I mean, I probably would be on this stream ripping Ottavino's heart out because Ottavino's been intriguing. I mean, another one of those guys who has command issues, and his stuff could be nasty if the player's swinging it, but if they don't, he's going to walk the ballpark and throw 1 or 2 stupid pitches that are just long balls. That's how Ottavino works. I'm not crazy about him. I think he's some nice depth, but he has to be more careful on what he throws. Peter, what's going on? Michael, what's going on? Trey, what's going on? MLB Chatterbox, appreciate you tuning in, brother. Robert, how's it going, man? Appreciate you tuning in. Kobe, Jack, Timothy, big sweep indeed. Cal says, hello, Hayden. What an awesome series. Mets are playing well. I am hoping for more great games. You and me both, pal. Trey says, if you thought Robinson Cano was bad with the Mets, he's even worse now. 107 average since joining the Padres. Yikes. One more. What's going on, Paul? Daniel says, sucks the Mets suffered another injury to Drew Smith. Should the Mets send down Shreve and call up Claudio? Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you'd like some left-handed remedy, so it doesn't really apply there. But Yeah, I mean, definitely Shreve has not been really what we've hoped. The long ball has been something for him, and it's just stuff isn't really looking as nasty as we hoped it was in 2020 or what we imagined from him. It's a possibility. I wouldn't mind calling up Claudio. I'd give Shreve a little bit of time. Relievers have a little, week or two where they could be streaky. But overall, if Shreve continues to struggle, I would absolutely have an interest in calling up Claudio or maybe, I don't know, a Medina or someone to hold down a spot. Connor, what's going on? Daniel says, big hit for Plummer last night coming into clutch. Where do you see him fit in the Mets' future? That's a good question, Daniel. I think he could definitely be a reliable bench role. I think the Mets, I think he could be that Kevin Pillar type of role. Maybe start some Sunday games, be a ninth inning defensive adjustment, need be the bench bat for the outfield. Because right now you look at this bench, you have Nito and Mazika, so that's 2 for the catcher. Well, no, because McCann's on the IL. But, yeah, I mean, okay, so then you have 1 for the catcher then, and Mazika or Nito, take your spot, and who is the bench guy for the catching role. Obviously, you'd have Dom Smith, you'd have J.D. Davis, so that's 3. And then I would have no problem with him being that 4th. I really wouldn't. Coach Dante, what's going on? Alex, what's happening? Ibindos, yes, sir. Paul says Mets are only behind the Dodgers in the MLB. Go them. Yeah, they're looking pretty good. Connor says Mets should make Trevor Williams the number 5 starter. He won't go deep into games, but it's innings that won't go to the bullpen. Yeah, I absolutely have no problem with that. Paul says, can you imagine if the Mets had Judge? Yeah, I mean, Judge, Alonso, that'd be home run city. Timothy says, should the Mets trade Trevor Williams and Alex for Ramirez to the Mariners for Jesse Winker? I decline that. Kobe says, happy for Nick Plummer that he got his first MLB home run. He's going to be a good bench piece. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, definitely, I will say, guys like, some of these bench guys like Mazika or Plummer don't necessarily get a lot of hits or don't help out a lot offensively, but the few hits they get is when it matters the most. Clutch hits. We saw, Mazika with the home run. He had multiple walk-offs last year. So comes clutch when it matters. Daniel says, who would you resign, Cookie or Walker? That's a tough question. I mean, I'd say Walker. Call me crazy just because of the age. The health concern is there, but Timothy would says neither. Kobe says, should Pete Alonso be the Mets captain? Yeah, absolutely. I think, honestly, Alonso has worked himself to be this team's captain. I mean, he really reminds me of, the next, I guess, inspirational Met. I mean, he's a great clubhouse guy, great attitude. I mean, I'm just loving what we're absolutely seeing out of Pete. I mean, he just comes in every day and just gets the job done. I mean, besides him as a player, he's an all-star caliber player, even an MVP contender. But I'm just loving what this dude offers to the team. I mean, he's just a great clubhouse guy. You always see him smiling, great vibes. Absolutely. Trey says, I think Nick Plummer is going to go far in this organization. Yeah, I mean, small sample size, but I definitely think he's looked good. I mean, in the minor leagues, what we got, I mean, nice average contact hitter, can exemplify some speed. I mean, be a good outfielder, maybe a good left fielder in the meantime. I don't know how crazy his arm is, but absolutely. I mean, I agree with you. I think he definitely has good potential. Peter says, last 2 Mets to have their first big league hit to be a home run. Nick Plummer and Jeremy Hefner the same day. That's crazy. Yeah, it is. But a 10-year difference. So I did see that on Twitter, and that is absolutely insane that that was the case. Absolutely insane, to say for the least. So keep going for it. I mean, it's crazy to see a pitcher have their first hit as a home run, but hey, go for it. If it gets the job done, go for it. It might be next season. Yeah, I think next season he could have more of an impact. Usually first year settle in. Cal says the Mets bats really came alive this series. Lindor, Mcneill, Alonso, Nimmo, Guillorme are playing well. Yeah, absolutely. Can't disagree. Marco says, yo, Hayden, how are you? Did you see the Angel City Connect jerseys? What would you rate them? I did. I don't know if that was them, though, or if that was just some fake one. But from the ones that I saw, I'd give them a solid 7, 8 out of 10. Electric Voltage, what's going on, buddy? Phillies fan. He says, good series, bud. Your Mets are looking good. Best of luck. Ring the bell. Yeah, man. I mean, I'll say tip of the cap to the Phillies. I mean, game 1, game 3, they gave us a run for their money. I think they are. I think they easily could have won a game. I think they could have won game one if the defense held down. I think defensively, this is a rough team. And when this offseason, when they signed Schwarber and Castellanos, I'm kind of like, huh? I didn't want the Mets to go after one of those two guys. Why? Because they're horrible defensively. They're DH guys. And the Mets have J.D. Davis and Dom Smith. So what, you going to put them out there? You're going to put J.D. Davis out there and have Schwarber, Castellanos DH for the Mets? No. So when the Mets signed two DHs, and then you have Alec Bohm going into the season, also horrible defensively. I mean, I get it. The only average guy on this team defensively is Harper. I mean, maybe you can make a case for Bohm, who's getting better, but that's my biggest concern. And, Harper not being able to play the outfield and have to DH, that's the risk you take when you sign two guys who are horrible defensively and are willing to flip-flop them in the DH role. So, maybe once Harper could play the outfield, maybe July, I don't know what the Phillies' timeline is for him. That could help them out. But in the meantime, we'll figure it out. I mean, Camargo made a nice grab yesterday, but did more bad than good. But yeah, definitely best of luck to you, man. Appreciate you tuning in. Good to see. Good connection. We need more of that in baseball. Daniel says, I love that we beat the Phillies 9 times already this season. Yeah. Timothy says, will the Mets sweep the Nationals? I hope so. Daniel says, good to see DeGrom back in the dugout with his teammates. Hopefully he will be back after the All-Star break along with Max. Yeah, it's pretty much going to be a race who can get back first, and I think it's a good race. Joe, what's going on? Joe says, shout out to Joe Girardi for helping us win by taking out Castellanos and putting in Roman Quinn. Well, for the field, I mean, yeah, I doubt even would have got it anyways. But yeah, I mean, Girardi had enough on his plate. I mean, I don't know why you put Knievel in back-to-back. Found that a little intriguing. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what the Phillies' future is with Joe Girardi, if they're going to fire him. I mean, I don't follow them to the extent of knowing their managerial front office, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's talk of it. Seth, what's going on? He says, Nick Plummer, absolutely, man. Cal says, when will Tyler Mcgill be returning? The schedule is going to be hectic with the West Coast trip coming up. Yeah, so as of right now, I'm hoping next week. He will have to make 1 or 2 rehab starts. Not worried about that. But I'm hoping next week would be nice because you'd have that huge series. So that's going to be huge. Kobe says, which Mets will make the All-Star team? I like this question. So as of right now, I think you have 2 guys that are definite locks, and that is Jeff McNeil and Pete Alonso. Starting with Jeff McNeil. He's been putting up phenomenal numbers, all-star caliber numbers, the average, the OPS, the hits, phenomenal numbers. I love what I'm seeing from McNeil, the on-base percentage, everything, all-star caliber. I think he can honestly be a starter. I really do. I think McNeil is probably the best NL second baseman right now. I mean, maybe you can make a case for Jazz Chisholm, but looking at last year, you had Muncy's not playing good, and I mean, he was at first base last year, but still, he's not playing good for second. He's been horrible this year. Cronenworth hasn't been good, and neither is Adam Frazier. So those were the guys for second base last year, and none of those guys are going to make it. So, I mean, I think McNeil can be the starting second baseman for the All-Star team this year. I mean, you could have 2 or 3 guys back. So worst case, he'll be the first reserve. He'll be the starter or the first reserve. I'll predict that. I think everyone can. Maybe Jazz Chisholm will also make it. Otherwise, I mean, maybe Tommy Edman will get some votes. But I think McNeil is a lock. I think Pete Alonso definitely is a lock. I mean, the average is there. The OPS is there. The power numbers are there. The RBIs, leads the league in RBIs. 12 homers. Definitely fans love to see that. Goldschmidt, Freeman, they're having great seasons ahead of him, but you could have, I think, 3 backups. It's a starter and 3 backups, so I think Alonso will be probably the second or third backup. I don't know if CJ Cron will make it just because, no one really knows about him much, and I don't think he's that popular. Plus, he plays at Coors, so I feel people are like, oh, he plays for Coors, doesn't count, which I don't agree with that, but whatever. I think Alonso and McNeil are 2 locks. I think Nimmo maybe could make a case. I mean, the on-base percentage, the average, the OPS is there. He doesn't really hit many home runs. He's a leadoff hitter, so the power numbers aren't really there for him. The RBIs aren't really there for him. But I think he could make a strong case. If DeGrom and Scherzer were healthy, I'd say those 2 are obviously definitely capable. Maybe Edwin Diaz can make a case. But as of right now, my two locks are Pete Alonso and Jeff McNeil. I think those two guys will make it. And yeah, good question though. And I think Alonso's going to make the home run derby. I think that's pretty obvious. Trey says Medina had that one bad game where he just got smacked. Other than that, he's been pretty good, I believe. I like Medina too. I think I was thinking any three of those guys could be emergency starters. Yeah, I think he could too. I mean, I think he had the one bad start. I think St. Louis or San Francisco, one of those three. Yeah, I mean, luckily the Mets have a lot of depth, so that's the biggest thing. Joe says, if Jankowski was up in the 8th hole, I don't think he would have had the power to muscle that homer. Yeah, Jankowski is not known for his power. He's known for his speed. He's a pitch runner. So, I mean, if you were going off in the 10th inning with the runner on second, honestly, I mean, I would have rathered Marte even over Jankowski. But yeah, he's a pitch runner. And yeah, I mean, he doesn't really hit the ball out of the infield, which is unfortunate, but he's a bench player. So that's really what you're going to get out of him. But he's out for 6 weeks, so we'll see. Gallipo says, what a great series. I love beating Philly. I love the energy of this team. It seems more well-rounded approach at the plate, not just a home run derby. Also love the broom. Mets fans rule. Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, the Mets kind of are just going for contact, get on base, walk, base hit, BABIP, get on base. Baseball, that's the game. You drive in runs, and that's how. So I love that. Keep it up, Mets. Mazika and Plummer having huge hits in the same month really goes to show how sneaky our farm is. I'm loving it. Yeah, I mean, really, our farm is really underrated. I mean, guys like Colin Holderman, Tyler Mcgill, David Peterson, no one really knew about them. I mean, even looking at our position players, no one really knew much about Alonso in the farm. Yeah, he was a power hitter, but no one really would have expected to be an all-star MVP contender. Jeff McNeil, no one really knew much about him. He's an all-star. I mean, the only guys that were actually expected to play good, I guess, in the last couple of years have been Nimmo, Syndergaard. They were in the futures games. I mean, but otherwise, Mets farm is sneaky. Peter says, how poetic for Escobar to get the walk-off after his recent struggles. Walk-off win and our first sweep of the season isn't that sweet. Absolutely. Awesome to see Escobar really come into clutch when it matters. I know Escobar hasn't had the best season. I mean, he had a good April, but hasn't had the best May. And really, I guess, good to see him get the hit when it matters. We kind of had a rough game, but he made that good defensive play that honestly helped save the Mets in the 10th. He had that great catch into the stands. And then obviously he had the walk-off double. So good for Escobar. I know he was kind of getting booed and kind of shit on a little bit. People are saying, he shouldn't be starting as much anymore. And, it's fine. I'm not going to bash him. I know he just had a good night, but still he needs to work on some stuff. And I think this could be a good way to come off of that. But yeah, I mean, we'll see how things go for him ahead. Hopefully he definitely can keep it up. Joe says Guillermo has a swing that looks like he could have played in the 1920s. He does. He's a funny player. He definitely is. He is I don't want to say he's a weird player, but yeah, he's a very funny player. I like his attitude. Kobe says, I'm hoping this walk-off win can get something started for Escobar. He was hot in San Francisco, but is looking a bit lost at the plate. Hopefully he can get right on track. Yeah. Biggest thing for Escobar is stop getting these 0-2 counts because he's swinging at all these pitches in the dirt. He's chasing like crazy. And that's what happens. If you get into an 0-2 count, you're not Brandon Nimmo or Mark Canha, and you're going to work the count. So biggest thing for him is to stop getting into these 0-2 counts, be patient at the plate, and go back to that walk mentality of getting the count in your favor like he did in April. He walked a lot in April. And now he's not walking at all. He's striking out every 10 seconds. So try and contain the strikeouts for Escobar. He's putting the ball in play. He's getting RBI groundouts. It's productive. But I'm going to need more than plays that are going to result in a run and an out. I would like to see a little bit more. So we'll see how things go there. Robert says, thoughts on Kykel signing with the Mets? Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a quantity over quality approach right there. I'm not really crazy about Kykel, to be honest. I don't really think his stuff has been that good. He's been kind of not really that great with Chicago for the couple months he's been there. I don't know. I mean, maybe he can come here. You have him work with Hefner. Maybe he can get something done, but I don't know. I mean, I don't want the Mets to just throw someone out there for, a quantity over quality just to eat innings. I want them to throw someone out there that has a chance. We saw that happen with Zapucki, and it didn't go well. So, I mean, if they did it, I'd be a little like, okay, but yeah, we'll see. What's going on? Thumbs up, indeed. Daniel says, in my opinion, Guillorme should be the new third baseman or DH. He has been very good as of late. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100%. I mean, I don't see why he shouldn't get more starts. He's been hitting. He's been getting on base. He's been walking. I mean, how long is it going to last? We'll see. Hopefully it lasts long, but keep putting him out there every day. I mean, I don't want to see Dom Smith in this lineup when he's not hitting the blind side of a ball, but Guillorme on the bench who has been hitting the ball. I'd say if Escobar, I know, I hate to bash him because he was the highlight of last night, but if Escobar is going to continue to struggle, I would be okay with him getting more reps at third. And if Dom Smith is going to be continuing to struggle, I'd be okay with him taking that DH spot from Dom Smith because these guys need to start hitting. Dom Smith, he hasn't had any power since July 17th or something like that. I don't know. He just hasn't been hitting the ball. That uppercut swing is driving me nuts. He's just not doing anything, Dom Smith, I feel. So he's going to have to start working or else he's going to be in a predicament. Trey says, what changed to make Edwin Diaz so dominant this year? Slider's been on point, fastball's been on point, and his command's been there. Biggest thing for him. Cal says, should Luis Guillorme be taking Escobar's spot at third more often? Yeah, pretty much echo. Yeah. Ibindale says, which team has the best home run celebration? That's a good question. I kind of like the Blue Jays with the home run jacket. The Red Sox have that like shopping cart. Angels have the cowboy hat. I mean, like individual players, like Mcneil has the Wedding Crashers thing like that. Some guys have like cool, handshakes or dap ups. In terms of players, I kind of like Mcneil's little Wedding Crashers thing. But in terms of team, I kind of like the home run jacket for the Blue Jays. That's pretty cool. Mets should have a little celebration. They had the home run horse for a little bit last year, but I think they kind of said screw that. I know we had like Donnie Stevenson last year. He's fake, but like I don't know if that's still a thing or if you don't want to even bring that back to Jinx. Joe says, what's even more crazy is both Plummer and Hefner did it against the Phillies. Really? I didn't know Hefner did it against the Phillies. Okay. Yeah, that's even more funny. Damn. Daniel says the Mets have the it factor. You can never count them out, even when they are down 7 to 8 runs. They are very special this year. They are 2.5 games better than the 86 Mets to this day. Yeah, that's good, and that's what I'm liking to see. Mets show this game. They put up a fight to the last pitch. I mean, we've seen it. Last pitch, they put up a fight, and that's how you win ball games. You're in the 8th inning. You're in the 9th inning. It's 7-1 or 8-1. Everyone's like, game over. Nope, Mets come back and win. So just keep it up. It's phenomenal. Alvaro Orion, what's going on, man? He says, what's up, Hayden? With DeGrom and Scherzer out, who's the go-to guy? I mean, as of right now, it probably would have to be Walker. It's probably a combination with Walker, Carrasco, and Bassett. But call me crazy. I mean, once Mcgill comes back, I mean, he's been phenomenal. David Peterson's been phenomenal. But if you're talking like if I could have any guy start a game in a really rough game, I'd probably go Taiwan Walker. I mean, he's really been it this year so far. I mean, I know the sample size is small, but still. Joe says the blame for the Phillies' woes should go to Dave Dombrowski for not improving the defense or the bullpen and maxing out their payroll. That's exactly what I thought. If they wanted to really get their issue and get to the root of it, you would have went for Correa. You would have not signed Castellanos and Schwarber. You would have went for Correa or a Story or a guy that is good defensively. They just continue to add more DH candidates and guys that struggle defensively. And I'm saying don't do that because the Phillies have and they can actually like make the moves. I mean, they exceeded their payroll this offseason for what? 2 DHs? So I don't know. I mean, I think the Familia signing was pretty underrated. I mean, they lost Brad Miller. I think he kind of could have been a good role for them, or even the Mets. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, Phillies. Like I said, I'm not a managerial expert for them. I'm not a front office expert for them. But Girardi, I think. Well, the beat reporters are already firing him, but I would not be surprised if he gets fired probably this offseason. Joe says Ozzy Albies is also not doing too great. Yeah, Albies too isn't doing great. That's who I forgot too. Yeah, Albies isn't doing too great. Alvaro, nice hat. Appreciate it, man. 2018 All-Star game hat. And funny, we were just talking about the All-Star game. Who has been the Mets MVP so far? Probably has to be Pete Alonso. I mean, just the run creation, just being able to execute at the plate. It has to be Alonso. Or maybe even Mcneill, one of those two. Connor says, I think the Mets should bring up Mark Vientos. We need a little bit more consistent hitting in the DH spot. Yeah, I mean, he's been hitting well in AAA. Let him play in AAA for a little bit, and then we'll talk about him. But as of right now, I will probably say he could be a possibility coming September. Like if I mean, at the deadline, you think you'd want to go after a DH, but if you don't, and it's September or August or the second half, and Dom Smith still isn't hitting in the scenario you still have him, and you're not really getting much from at least Smith, at least to say, because there's bench rolls, then maybe you call up a Vientos and you could put him in the bench role, have him DH a couple games. I don't think he'll field much. Just let him focus on one thing. Maybe that could not be the worst thing. Gallipo says, that's what we need. Doesn't matter how much Lindor hits. If the hits do not drive in or manufacture runs, it's pointless. So it's good to see him getting all these RBIs during his hot streak. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, good to see Lindor really, being the icebreaker and just being able to execute. Hopefully he keeps it up. Amari Prod, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you tuning in. Bobby Wood Jr., I've talked with you about him a little bit, but damn, he makes this unexciting team watchable. Yeah, Bobby Wood Jr., has been having a phenomenal season, I guess, for rookie standards. Let's take a look-see at Bobby Witt, what he's been doing. I know he's obviously taking over that shortstop role from Nicky Lopez, I believe. But yeah, the average, I guess, is okay. The OPS is okay. It's average. I don't think I doubt. If he has a crazy second half, I think he could possibly win MVP. Not MVP, Rookie of the Year. I think it may go to Julio Rodriguez though for the AL, but he's been pretty good. The contact's been there. The speed is huge. The speed has been phenomenal for him. I wouldn't be surprised if he could finish the season with 30 stolen bases. The speed has been phenomenal, and he hits for power, and defensively he's great. So he's a good defender. Great speed, and he hits the ball really hard. So, maybe if he could work on chasing, he's been striking out a little bit much. If he could work on chasing and work on the plate discipline, he could really be a really good hitter. Just work on those two little things. But those two little things happen to be huge. Lucas says, I like Colin Holderman, Drew Smith, Shreve, and Ottavino. Have been struggling. That's really concerning. I don't know why Otto threw a fastball in the 0-2 count. Yeah, I went on a little rant about that before. Good to see the flying squirrel okay after crashing into the wall in San Francisco. I hear Nimmo has sore wrist. If only he could stay healthy, the guy would be an all-star. Yeah, I think he is healthy this season. He was in the lineup for the last at bat yesterday. He'll be in it today, most likely. He really has. Mcgill's never really been unhealthy. It was just last year, really, for the most part. He was healthy 18, he was healthy 19, he was healthy 20. It was just last year for the most part where he had that hamstring thing and he was out for a month. But the effects lingered on for the rest of the season. So, but yeah, he's always been healthy. But yeah, I agree. But yeah, Nimmo, I agree with you. Nimmo, I thought you were talking about Mcneill. My bad. My apologies, Daniel. Nimmo would definitely be an all-star if healthy. But he should be in the lineup today, hopefully, Nimmo. Robert says Plummer should be the DH. That could be a possibility. Get some reps in. That way he doesn't have to focus on the outfield. He can just focus on hitting. He has been shown to be a high average guy. He hit the ball pretty well opposite field. Okay speed. So it's a possibility. Or call up Palka. Daniel Palka has been, I will say. He's not the first baseman, so that would be the DH role. Palka, too, he's been raking. he has been red hot, I will say. I mean, if you guys want to talk, Mets farm, I mean, I know he was with the White Sox and KBL. I mean, I know he's 30, so he's, the age isn't necessarily there. But he has been raking. I mean, he really has been raking. I mean, in AAA this season, 10 home runs, 28 RBIs, 136 at-bats. The average isn't there, but the OPS is kind of there. He hits for power, so he's a big strikeout guy. I mean, that's a big reason. 40 strikeouts already in AAA. He had 90 last year, and he only is in 39 games played. So the strikeouts are going to be there. But if he could work on the plate discipline, every power hitter has that issue. Daniel says Nick Plummer has more homers than Dom Smith. Yeah, you're not wrong. Mazika, too. Royals don't hit home runs, so they don't do home run celebrations. Jose, what's going on? What's going on, man? He says, what's up, Hayden? Did the Mets make a trade with the Reds? I do not think so. Should the Mets take a chance on Dallas Keuchel? Kind of to echo what I said before, not really. Alvaro says predictions for the Subway Series. It's going to be wild. When is the Subway Series? When do the Mets play the Yankees this year? They play them July and August. 2 games in July and 2 games in August. I think they could honestly split it, maybe. I think that's possible. Christian said the Mets have had a larger lead in the standings than the 86 Mets at the time, but the 86 Mets made a better record. Do I think this Mets team is going to win 110, 108 games? Probably not. I think they're a 95-win team. And the thing is, the way the NL East is looking, it's probably going to be like a last year. Last year the Braves won 88 wins. We saw the 06 Cardinals win the World Series with 85 wins? That's just how baseball works. You don't pick – it's like the thing is you don't pick your family. You don't pick where your standings are. Geographically you can't control that. Even regardless of geographically, sometimes divisions are weird. But, yeah, we'll see. Definitely has a high shot. We'll see how things go for the Marlins. If they do anything at the deadline to find a remedy. Nationals are out of it. Braves and Phillies are going to be definitely active in the future. Me and my family are going to the East Coast trip. Might see the Mets. Nice, man. Definitely have a good time. Definitely if you go to the Mets game or Citi Field or any other games, definitely send me some pictures on Discord. Definitely hope you have fun. I'm actually going – I don't know if you live in Missouri. I'm kind of going to your neck of the woods. I'm going to be in the Midwest. Chicago, 2 games. Detroit, a game. And Cincinnati, 1 game. In 2 weeks, I'll be there. So, Daniel says, who do you think will win the NL and AL Rookie of the Year? That's a good question. As of right now, there are a lot of intriguing, takes you could say. As of right now, NL, I have to go Mackenzie Gore. AL, Julio Rodriguez, probably. Jose says, if the Mets lose to the Giants, Girardi will be gone. If they get swept or lose 2 of 3, if it's a 3-game set, the beat reporters already fired him, so that's nothing new. But, Girardi is just no more baseball for him, I say. J-Rod is definitely better than Bobby Witt Jr. right now. 30-30. Yeah, I think so. These top 100 prospect lists don't mean much. You'd be surprised how many players never made the list. And that's the thing for the Mets. A lot of their guys come out of surprise and they weren't even in the top 100. Look at a lot of this Mets team. The only guys on it that were expected to really play really well were Nimmo in the farm. He was in the futures game. Alonso wasn't really viewed highly in the farm. Mcneill wasn't really viewed highly. And they're one of the, MVP caliber players, all-star caliber players. So, farm system, I think it's great, but it's not proven. It's not factual. But yeah, point that I'm trying to make is, guys like Pete Alonso, Jeff McNeil, Tyler Mcgill, they weren't really popular or huge in the farm. And then look at them now. They're amazing in the majors. Marco says, I hope the new can start a new winning streak, won the last 3 games, maybe win the next 3 against the Nash, just have a strong start off in California. Yeah, I would like that. Loving this team and its energy. They are really electric and never seem to quit. That's what I love about them. Yeah, I mean, absolutely, man. Amari Prad says Nicky has been moved to second base at times. His defense is in a slump, but has shown life as a second-half player. Yeah, he is a second-half player. I kind of agree with you on that. I was just watching the Mets game yesterday and looked away for 2 seconds, and Nick Castellanos said a 2-run homer. Yeah, that's pretty much how these things work for the most part for them. I wouldn't want to waste Guillorme's glove by having him DH. Yeah, I mean, Guillorme defensively, too, has been really, really on point. So I also wouldn't want to take his glove out of the lineup, but the bat out of the lineup. He's been phenomenal lately. So, I mean, why want to waste his at bat? So I say go for it. I mean, I hate to bash Escobar. I know he had a really good game recently, but, if he's not going to hit and play how he's been playing, why waste Guillorme's chances? Why? I don't see why. So, we'll see down the line. We will see. Mets fans and Mets are special. They are. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. My bad. Yeah. JT Riddle. Yeah. My bad. I thought he was referring to a pitcher or someone or at the deadline. Yeah. No, you're right. If Escobar was to keep struggling, you think the Mets would have gotten rid of him or trade him? I mean, with that contract, you really can. Yeah, the contract, you can. I mean, it's only 2 months. I mean, at least Lindor was much worse at this time last year than Escobar has been. So we'll see. I mean, he's had a couple defensive mishaps, but we'll see. I mean, as time goes on, he definitely has been warming up. I will say that. So as of right now, if he could warm up, great. If he's going to continue to struggle, well, then yeah, there's definitely going to be a little bit of a concern from there. Yes, Mets acquired JT Riddle. That is true. Yes. My apologies. LFGM, Jose says SNY. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, I agree. The top 100 list isn't that good. Soler was a great prospect, I'm pretty sure. And while he found a lot of success with the Braves, that 1 year he was underwhelming with the Cubs and Royals. That's just one example, not calling him out. I liked him a lot last year as a Royal. Yeah, I know. I mean, that's the thing. Is a lot of these guys, I mean, yeah, that's how farm systems work. A little bit worried going into June, kind of nervous heading into these huge 4 series with the 4-man rotation. That 5th spot is going to be weird, but hopefully the offense can pick up. Well, yeah, I mean, Mcgill should hopefully be returning. I mean, Peterson's really been holding down the forts. Likewise for Williams. Really not that worried. I mean, you look at the Mets and Dodgers, they have the same record, and they're doing this without DeGrom and half of a Scherzer. So keep it up. Phenomenal. I mean, you won a series with not having – you lost what? 2 series this whole season. They're what, like 13-2 or 14-2 and tied 1 series. So keep it up. So yeah, keep it up. That's what I say. Mets, Daniel says Mets need more bullpen depth because we are calling up everyone from the minors. I don't want the Mets to get fleeced by other teams, seeing how desperate we are for pitching. Yeah, I mean, the one thing you don't want is to look desperate because you'll never win a deal. You'll never win a trade if you're desperate. Yeah, I mean, the Mets farm, I mean, we have a good draft this year. I think we have a couple compensation picks for, Kumar Rocker leaving, a couple of qualifying offers not going through. So we have a couple good picks. I think we have 2 picks in the first 2 rounds or the first round. So that's big. Heard there's a lot of good outfield prospects in the market. So it's also going to be huge because we need outfield depth. Mets farm, besides like Carlos Cortez, and that's really it for the most part. The outfield depth is limited. So, maybe, I mean, besides Khalil Lee and Nick Plummer, who are pretty much MLB here already. So, we'll see how things go there. Gallipo says, question, which Mets bench player, which bench player, Dom, JD Davis, or Guillorme should get the most time playing? I'm honestly going to say Guillorme. There's Senger, there's Hayden Senger and Max Meyer too. Yeah, I mean, Hayden Senger, I mean, I think he's more probably going to be a DH if he does ever get a future with the Mets. I mean, I think obviously all the hype is on Alvarez. No one's really paying attention to Senger. The only reason I know him is because we share the same name. But yeah. So, yeah, I mean, we're not just going to have to see how things go ahead for that. So, probably going to call it a stream here. I really do appreciate everyone for tuning in to today's stream, as always. Please, everyone, smash that like button. Turn on those post notifications. Tell your friends about this channel. Subscribe, all that great stuff. In today's stream, we did go over the New York Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies series summary. Then we went into the New York Mets and the Washington Nationals series preview. Then we transitioned into Mets news, your guys' comments, concerns, touched on some prospects, everything much more. If you are rewatching this on replay, hey, kudos to you for sticking around for the whole hour and pretty much hour a minute. We are a little bit over the hour mark right now, so that's phenomenal. These streams have been getting longer because we've been getting a lot more great comments, questions, and concerns. So definitely really do appreciate you guys from that. Let's go into this series against the Nationals. Let's take 2 or 3. A sweep would be even better. Game 1 is tonight. Let's get rolling. Let's go Mets. Let's get something going. LFGM. Appreciate you guys for tuning into the stream as always. Till next time, baseball fans. See ya. Apologies, it seems my computer froze or that was very weird. But till next time, baseball fans, see ya.